The following content does not reflect the opinions of Fox Sports Radio. If you think it does, well, that's on you.
Top story.
People coming down on the Eagles for an absolutely garbage performance to close out the season, losing to the Giants, and Jalen Hurts, they're injuring his middle finger, probably from having to point it at his coaching staff all game long. And Tony, this kind of disaster, it calls for big moves, doesn't it?
As official spokespeople for the Eagles organization, before Monday's game, we would like to go ahead and replace Nick Sirianni with any currently fired or soon-to-be fired coach. We'll take anyone. Doug Peterson.
Yep.
We'll even take Bill Belichick.
Yep.
Or even Ron Rivera.
Yep.
Or even Brandon Staley. Not Brandon Staley. Forget that.
You know, producer, just edit that part out, all right?
Take that part out.
Yeah, anyway, but Tony, you know, we got to be fair to Nick Sirianni here, don't we? Because he isn't the only clown on this pathetic coaching staff that clearly doesn't know how to coach. Isn't that right?
Yeah. You know, personally, I blame the Eagles for naming Matt Patricia defensive coordinator.
Yep.
They keep forgetting the cardinal rule. You never trust a man with two first names.
Yep.
Matt Patricia.
Yep.
Chip Kelly.
Yep.
Buddy Ryan.
Yep.
And yes, Andy Reid, who won a Super Bowl with another team. The ultimate betrayal.
Such great analysis there, Tony. And to another issue on this team, we saw a very concerning tweet from Eagles defensive back Darius Slay, who tweeted that the team's record is 0-0 now. And Tony, this is very disturbing, isn't it?
Very disturbing. Doesn't he know his own team's record?
Yep.
They're 11-6, not 0-0.
Yep.
You know, this shows the coaches aren't doing their job.
Yep.
Their job is to tell the players what the team's record is.
Yep.
No wonder the team hasn't been playing with any urgency. They think the season hasn't even started yet.
Just alarming analysis there, Tony. And, you know, our only hope is that the Eagles are taking the sage advice we gave them a couple weeks ago. You know, we told them that they should be losing all these games on purpose. Isn't that right, Tony?
Yep. As you all know, we told them they shouldn't want home field advantage. They should play for road field advantage.
Yep.
And look, now on Monday night, instead of having to play in Philly in 33-degree weather in front of a hostile home crowd full of angry, disappointed fans, they get to play in Tampa in warm 71-degree weather against a team that has as much of a chance of winning the Super Bowl as the Carolina Panthers do, which proves why they should always listen to us.
So well said, Tony. And now shifting to another playoff matchup. Sunday, the Cowboys host the Packers. And for some crazy reason, the betting market has the Cowboys favored by 7.5. Even though the stats show that Jordan Love is a much better quarterback than Dak Prescott. You know, we all know the most important stat for a quarterback. Intended air yards, of course. And, you know, for those fools out there who don't know what intended air yards are, it's an advanced metric that measures all pass attempts, whether completed or incomplete. And Love has Dak beat 49-02 to a measly 45-85. And that just says it all, doesn't it, Tony?
Absolutely. Quarterbacks should be measured not just by what they do, but what they intend to do.
Yep.
That's a cornerpiece of our proud American judicial system.
Yep.
If someone intends to murder someone else, well, that counts as a murder.
Yep.
Just like if Jordan Love intended to complete a pass that was 20 yards overthrown, that should still count toward his total pass yards.
Yep.
And if you disagree, well, you just don't understand the law.
Terrific legal analysis there, Tony. And now moving to an NFC East team not in the playoffs, of course. That's the Washington Commanders, who once again made another boneheaded move, this time firing head coach Ron Rivera after just 4 seasons. And Tony, this was clearly a mistake, wasn't it?
A terrible mistake. Ron Rivera was just starting to find his footing.
Yep.
As they say, you can't move forward until you hit rock bottom.
Yep.
The Commanders' defense was ranked dead last in the entire NFL, and that's thanks to Ron Rivera.
Yep.
He had the team hitting rock bottom so they could only go up from there.
Yep.
That's great coaching, and it should have been rewarded, not punished.
Great points all around, Tony. And now
Thank you.
to a controversial moment at the end of the Falcons-Saints game, which should have been totally meaningless and forgettable, but somehow become the talk of the entire sports world because of Jamus Winston, who bravely and valiantly ignored the orders of Saints head coach Dennis Allen and decided to have the team score a touchdown, even though they were up 41-17 and there was about a minute left. But now people out there, these morons, are saying Jamus should be cut for that. And Tony, what are they saying? I mean, this is exactly what you want in a quarterback, isn't it?
Absolutely. People say Jamus Winston should have just done whatever his coach said. Well, do you remember the last time Saints players blindly did whatever their coach said? Bountygate.
Yup.
Injured quarterbacks. Suspensions.
Yup.
Congressional hearings.
Yup.
Interim coaches.
Yup.
I think we can safely say if Jamus Winston had been the QB of the Saints 15 years ago, Bountygate never would have happened at all.
Yup.
They wouldn't have won a Super Bowl,
Yep.
but at least they'd have their integrity, and that's more important.
So beautifully put, Tony. And now to a big story brewing in sports media. Host of the Pat McAfee show, Pat McAfee, openly called out ESPN executive Norby Williamson for trying to, quote, sabotage his show. And Tony, you know, we do feel for Pat McAfee here because we have a
100%.
similar problem on our hands here at Fox Sports Radio.
We
An
do.
executive who is trying to openly ruin our show. And we don't want to name names, but his name is Scott Shapiro. And the other day, he told us that we need to, quote, do more to promote the show, which is ridiculous.
Absurd.
That's his job. And we already have millions of viewers. Anyway, so all right, we came to him with this idea. We said, all right, you want to promote the show? Well, buy a 60-second Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, just do that.
You know, it just costs $1 million or whatnot.
Yeah, so
but
what?
you get that back immediately because you've got billions of viewers just coming to watch the show.
There you go.
Well, you know, this Shapiro clown, he tells me, he goes, well, that's not in the budget.
Ugh.
And you know what he says after that? He says, Super Bowl commercials sold out months ago, which just shows you how late he is on everything.
Yeah,
Because he didn't even tell us. And we're like, all right, another idea. Well, why don't you just get us the naming rights to Lincoln Financial Field?
Boom,
you know,
there you go.
Paulie and Tony FUSCO Show Field.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't even responded to my email about that.
Sabotage, plain and simple.
Yeah, well, exactly.